what we are going to talk about today in this morning's episode of the Kafkaesque isekai that is essentially artists and creatives versus generative AI. We are talking about none other than the level 3 gold bar, kind of ultra damage spongy mini boss that only drops common loot and most likely just crafting materials. Yes, my friends, we are talking about none other than Emad Mostak. But we're not going to get into every nitty gritty, itty bitty little bitty titty about this piece of. Today, we're going to focus on one particular aspect, and that is not the many lawsuits he's facing. We're not going to talk about his failed religious-based crypto shitcoin that he tried to make. No, we're also not going to be talking about how he pretty much tanked his entire hedge fund that he worked for in the span of 1 year, which he chalks up as a coincidence. Nope. We're also not going to be talking about the reviews on Glassdoor that all seem to say that it is one of the most toxic and disorganized workplaces that they've ever been. Now, we're not going to talk about that. We're also not going to talk about his tweets, his myriad of nonsensical artist gaslighting and disparaging tweets that more or less incriminate himself and contradict everything he previously says. No, today we're only going to talk about one very specific aspect of this gentleman, and that is his very easily checkable claim that he earned a master's degree from Oxford University. Now, the reason that I want to focus on this is because it's very easily verifiable. Now, full disclosure, when this article that you see here in Forbes that came out, well, I guess at this point it's about 6 weeks ago that this came out, and I really did want to talk about this article, but I decided that it would make more sense for me to just file a Freedom of Information Act and get the dirt from Oxford itself that I just had to wait. Now, it took approximately 30 days for me to get this FOI verification, and in that time he has made numerous claims about this particular aspect. Now, generally, this is what he says, right? So in this Forbes article, he basically claims to have a master's. Forbes says you don't. And before we get to the truth of the matter, because it's a little more complicated, since this article, he has made other numerous claims. And there even an article came out defending him where they specifically refer to the master's degree. What they essentially said, they set up a question to Mr. Mostake, and they said, so are you saying that you did all the coursework for the master's, but just didn't send the check to get the diploma? Just wanted to be clear about what you meant. And he said, yes, I don't technically have a BA or MA because I missed the ceremony and I didn't send the form to get it sent by mail. Neat. Now, if we just want to take a very quick look here, this, my friends, is the actual response that I got from Oxford University. We have consulted with the Degree Conferrals Office, which holds records and degrees of matriculated students. The Department of Continuing Education withholds records, blah, blah, blah. This is a whole paragraph of them saying this is what we do. And it says, the Degree Conferrals Office has confirmed that Mohammed Emad Mostak was awarded a Bachelor of Arts degree in Mathematics and Computer Science in 2005. Then goes on to say, this student also has the Oxford Master of Arts, which when I read that I said, oh, so he wasn't lying. But then, like a normal person, I kept reading. And it said, in Oxford, the status of Master of Arts is a mark of seniority within the university, which may be conferred 21 terms after matriculation. The Oxford MA allows students to reach a new status within the university and is not an upgrade of their BA or an additional qualification. Okay, let's keep reading. It is awarded without further study and therefore has no subject or class.
Oh, that's gotta hurt!
Essentially, it's an honorary degree. As I said, it's really not even a degree, it's an honorary title. Now, how would you go about getting one of these? Well, I would imagine making a large donation to the university would get you one quite handily. I don't know, probably a million different ways to get one of these that don't involve actually having to study. So then our newfound best friend goes on to post this little gem on Twitter, and it says, very simply, 18 years on, I am now an art master in mathematics and computer science. Does anybody else smell the irony in him calling himself a master of art, given the context of all this? Anyway, just let that hang there. He says, I would like to thank my awesome parents, blah, blah, blah. Now go back to working on my, Dr. whatever, Phil, I guess he's talking about a PhD. But there's something very interesting about these two documents that he has here. Now, while I already know why and what this is all about, I'd like to draw your attention to a little bit of inconsistencies here. On the left, we have his bachelor's degree, and you can quite clearly see it says mathematics and computer science. And if we look over here at the master's, I'm not seeing a lot of computer science stuff. Maybe they just screwed up. Here, let me fix that for you, buddy. There you go. You're welcome. And then if you read the very real print below here, it says, in Oxford, the status of Master of Arts is a mark of seniority within the university and therefore not an academic qualification. So now, after hearing all this, you might be saying to yourself, who cares? Who cares if this guy completely misrepresented his master's degree? Who cares if he lies about something that's so easily verifiable that does not, in fact, have consequences? Well, I would argue it is very relevant and is extremely important because it's not much of a logical leap to take to say that if he is so very willing to misrepresent, at the least, something that has no consequence, he would be more than willing to lie about things that do in fact have consequences, like the many lawsuits he's facing, both personally and against his company, Stability AI. Like when it comes to the dataset used in Stable Diffusion, the flagship model of Stability AI, the same dataset that fuels Midjourney, arguably the two main antagonists in the Kafkaesque isekai that is artists versus generative AI. Let me know what you guys think down below. Is it fair to use this as a lens to kind of view what comes out of his mouth, or am I overreacting, and who really cares? But I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah, if you lie about this, you're damn right he's going to lie about that. And on that note, I wish you all very good luck in the wars to come, and I will talk to you very soon.